Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Outfitter Tales. As you can probably tell, my partner in crime is on his hollybobs, away sunning it up, sending me pictures and stuff whilst I'm doing all the work. Nothing's changed there really, so we'll just crack on with it. This week I've been out with clients and doing introductory courses and some level 2, DSC Level 2 training. The weekend just gone we had a DSC Level 1 course running, and thankfully all the candidates actually passed. Well done to all those candidates that conducted that course with us. One point I would just want to point out, the Scottish Government in their wisdom are now advocating that anyone doing any deer stalking must have qualifications. So they're now trying to implement that before you can have a deer condition put onto your FAC, you must have a qualification in deer stalking or deer management. So it might be time for you guys to get doing your level 1s if you haven't already done so. This week what have we got for you? We have a couple of clips, again all about me. So a lot of you guys have been asking about head preparation and how we do it, and also a clip of me out stalking with the submarine guys. Enjoy. So we're going to a forest called Glengennet. It's also part of a wind farm. So it's a big sort of 20,000 acre plot. So we're up there hoping to see some reds and obviously some roe, and then hopefully harvest some. Right. This is just sort of finishing off the cull plan, getting ready for letting them just survive over the winter, leave the ones that are left as part of the management plan. So this just shows the difference between a mile or so down the road. It was raining this morning and I've got snow here. Scratching about to try and get some food, clearing the snow away. Three up in this bank up here. I'm doing 2 follows, so take one of the followers if you can. I'm not going to gain a lot more distance by going up here. I'm just going to, if you go through here, we're just going to make too much noise, so I'm just going to set up the sticks here, see how I feel about the shot. I'm not 100% confident I want to get the shot. So ideally, heart long shots, it gives us the biggest margin of error, and we'll wait until it's fully broadside. So that one there should just be behind the shoulder. Hopefully I've hit it in the heart, if not just above the heart and the lungs. Right, so I know it's dead because the dog's already been at it, but for purposes of the DSC2 and stuff, I'm just going to touch its eyeball, make sure it's dead, checking for a blink reaction. So, you see here all the pinky coloured blood as well, it shows it's a long shot. So what we're going to do now is just going to carry out an external examination of the deer. I'm checking for things like foot and mouth, blue tongue, any sort of massive tick burdens. The tick burden could indicate that it's not fit. The massive tick burden could also make it not very fit. It's losing quite a lot of blood. I can tell it's a good long shot because there's blood in the mouth, so it's obviously breathed blood out. Just checking for any lesions, sores, blisters, anything unusual. Check this tongue for swelling and looking blue. They're all completely healthy. Question I often get asked, do you need to check all the feet? Yeah, you do. A lot of people think they only need to check the one. Right, so what I'm going to do now is to start the cooling process. It's quite cold anyway, but I'm going to bleed the deer, get any blood out of that thoracic cavity and start the cooling process. Knife up into the sternum, up into the heart, and you'll see the blood coming out. Whilst I'm here, I'm also just going to cut up the neck. You can tell how sharp my knife is. Revenant Gralloching tool, my favourite knife. There's one thing that people neglect, maintenance of their knives. A sharp knife is a safe knife. So I'm just going to cut this here up above the thorax. And that should, and the food pipe here is quite clean anyway, the esophagus. There's nothing in there going to come back out into the cavity. So obviously suspended gralloch is your gold plated solution. As I've said before, there's not a lot of trees around here, so I'm going to do everything on the floor. It's something that a lot of people struggle with, but you're not always going to be able to put a stag up into a tree, are you? So if you can do this, you can do it anywhere, and it's the same for all deer species then. So what I'm going to start off with is basically lift the tail up slightly. I'm going to do a horizontal cut at the base of the tail, straight across there. So we can see some feces already there, so I'm just going to move that out of the way for now. And what I'm going to do is basically get my finger in behind the anus. And just a wee cut with the knife, just to help. And this is where people get the knife in there and use it too much. If you can, break all this tissue away. Just use your finger to peel it all away. More feces there, I'll get that out of the way. I'm just going to stick basically from the outside into the anus. And then I'm just basically going to do a V-cut from here up towards the tush, then the same the other side, a V-cut. Get my fingers in here and free off all this tissue, keeping any feces that starts to poke out of the way. And then, with my really sharp knife, just cut away at the tush. So what we have here is the vagina and the anus all coming out in a runner through the pelvic cavity. So just free up all this loose connective tissue, like so. And what you can do is then grab it and pull it out slightly, just to ensure it's free. What I'm going to do while I'm here as well is any feces in the anus, I'm just going to squeeze that out, like so. So it stays outside the cavity. And all I'm going to do is make a little hole, making sure that I don't touch or cut into the intestines. Now I'm just going to put my finger through the muscle wall. Yep. And I'm going to put my tip of my finger over the knife like so, to prevent the tip from cutting anything. And stick my finger in the hole, and just zip it right up to the breastbone. So I'm going to lay it on its right hand side. The reason I put it on its right hand side is the spleen will then be at the top. Obviously we check the spleen as an anthrax indicator. That's your bladder here. So I'm just going to reach up above that, grab the anus and pull everything out. So nothing's coming inside, then the anus is now outside. So I'm just cutting up and around there, staying away from the stomach. You only need to open up one half of it. So So what I'm going to do now is reach up inside here. So here's the lungs. I'm going to reach up above the lungs, above the heart, and grab the bottom of the trachea. So the bottom of the windpipe. And basically I'm just going to pull this out. Right, so the bullet has actually done some damage to the trachea that I can feel. So as you can see, the trachea has been split by the shot, but the esophagus here is still intact. That's your food pipe. Now what I'm going to do now is just get around, peel everything away from the spine, like so. But no, that's quite healthy and I'm happy with that. So, hope you enjoyed that, guys. I certainly enjoyed doing it. The guys were out with us, showing us how to do things, hopefully properly, and you'll probably see that in the quality of the video that the guys produce for us. Head prep. So just before the video, the clip comes on, I just want to point out there's many ways to skin heads, many ways to prep heads. This is just the way that we do it, or I do it, because Chris don't do it anymore because he's too busy on holiday or he's far too busy doing retirement type stuff. It's not my favourite job in the world. If you've got any sort of recommendations or any suggestions, please make sure you put them into the comments below. We can chat through them. Enjoy the clip, guys. What we're going to be going through today is we've got a lot of questions people are asking about preparing heads. So we've got all the stuff here that we brought back up from Bedfordshire. So we've got some Chinese, some fallow and some muntjac that we're going to prepare. Unfortunately the weather today is a bit chilly, so all the water pipes are frozen, so we don't have any water. So the first part of this will just be skinning the heads off and how I do it, and what tools that I use to aid me in the skinning of the heads. So here we go. All of these have been frozen, so they've been defrosted over the past couple of days. First thing I'm going to go through is the knife that I use to skin off the heads. Obviously we've all got our sort of knife preferences and stuff, but to make the heads easier to skin, you need a sharp knife. But obviously doing a lot of heads will ruin your custom knife if you've got one. So what I use is these post-mortem blades. In conjunction, this one here's a Havalon knife. It's just a multi-tool, and all you do is basically with the blade, wrong way around, it's basically just put the blade on and it clips in place. And then you can actually use the blade now as a knife. Once it gets blunt, take it off, replace. Nice and easy. A razor sharp scalpel. It's used for post-mortems apparently, so you can buy a box of these off eBay, Amazon, whatever, for I think they're about 20 quid for a box of 50, so it should do you a few heads. You get a razor sharp knife every time you use it, take it off, and then you get a sterile blade for the next time you use it. Okay guys, I'm just going to start off with this muntjac. So the first thing I do is get up inside the mouth and cut directly along the jawline, like so. Then this enables me to get up inside the mouth, and then we can just sort of start skinning away around the nose and around the upper jaw. With the muntjac, there's a problem here with the orbital glands, so you just need to get a knife in there and then get them scooped out prior to trying to skin further around. Just take your time going around and pull all the skin out. So we're working all the way around. Being careful not to cut the nose cartilage, and the same down the other side. And to the orbital gland, and again free off the nose. As you can see, this is a lot easier with a sharp knife. Just a case of then skinning everything off all the way up to the pedicles. So for the pedicles, I find it easier to slit open and And just do one cut up, all the way up to the top of the pedicle, and start peeling it off just with the tip of the knife, all the way up into the pedicle, like so. And you do the same the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect, because a lot of this will get taken off when you boil the head and then wash it off with a steam washer, pressure washer. Again, all the way up to the pedicle, peel off and then cut around. So I've done the muntjac first, because then you can see how to do the pedicles, as well as, obviously, because the Chinese doesn't obviously have the pedicles, or if anything, the muntjac's probably one of the hardest, well, the harder ones with all the facial glands and suborbital glands and stuff. So just a quick demonstration on how I do it. Okay guys, we've got a fallow pricket here that we're just going to skin off as well. So same as the muntjac, get inside the mouth and cut up inside the mouth. So my knife's getting a little bit blunt now, okay, so popping it off, sliding it back on, and there we go. There you go, big difference. Do the other side whilst I'm here. Again, orbital gland here and little socket inside there, just cut that off and basically flip it over and do the same the other side. So cutting the inside of the mouth. As you can see, it's quite a easy process. It's none of it actually really difficult. Probably the most difficult part is taking the bottom jaw off. So what I tend to do sometimes, if I've got obviously red stags and stuff and it's a big bit of skin hanging around, so cut from the eye up the pedicle. Cut this part here off, so it's all out the way. If you can see, the skin on the head is actually thicker than any of the other skin. And then, same as before, cut through the cheeks, just in a straight line, straight back from the cheek. So this is where you can use some leverage. So hand on the bottom, hand on the top, and just pull. Cut off any tissue that's attached right into the corner of the mouth. Flip it over and continue your stretch until the jawbones pop out. Then it's just a case of trimming off anything, any meat or tendons that are attached. As I say, down in here you can see just here there's a little bone just there that you can snap. It's quite hard to cut through. And the same on the other side. Grab hold of it and give it a pull. So it's me onto that little bone now. Give it a snap, and then I'll just cut off. Easy peasy. We'll just leave these now, waiting for the weather to thaw a little bit, and then we'll get them done in part 2. Hope you enjoyed that, guys, and you'll be able to take a few tips from that. Well, that's pretty much it for this week's episode. Chris will be back next week, so we'll be back as a duo, being able to sort of bounce off each other. Chris is too busy sunning himself up. Thank you, guys. Enjoy. Please make sure you like, subscribe and share, and we'll hopefully next week we'll be bringing you a few more competitions so you can win yourself some goodies. That's all from me, and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.